All right, how y'all doing? Mark here. Y'all know how I do cook books, bring information. But I want to have a real talk with y'all today about relationships. A couple of my friends, y'all know who y'all are. Ain't gonna call no names. But I just want to say this. It's interesting, human nature, right? When there's a crisis, we all forget about our differences. Let's say you have a collapse, an economic collapse. No one is remembering differences anymore, right? Everyone comes together. They bail out banks, they bail out the auto companies, they cut taxes, they bail out some people in Main Street, Wall Street, all this, whatever. And you know, there's some global catastrophe. The whole world unite, right? There's a tsunami or a storm or some kind of something chaotic happens in one country or one region, and the whole world comes together to help out that region. So it's a part of it's human nature for people to come together in crisis and put aside their differences. And that's all on the macro scale. But on the micro scale, micro meaning, you know, on a small scale, on an individual scale, let's not do that, right? Let's not wait for a crisis when a person is incapacitated or when a person is facing some kind of health issue, health scare, or something catastrophic comes into someone's life, and then we all come together and we put our differences aside. That's great, because that's a part of human nature. That's a part of our nature. So that's a good thing. But I say this, if you're under the sound of my voice, don't let a crisis happen for you to love your wife. You understand? Don't let a crisis happen for you to love your baby moms. Don't let a crisis have to happen for you to love your baby daddy, right? If it's, look, behind all of our differences, right? Behind the things that behind the force or the energy behind our fights and so on and so forth, our irreconcilabilities and our differences. The force behind that is usually one of two things: ego and pride. From a male perspective, it's our ego. From a woman's perspective, proudful, right? Proudful, pride gets the best of a woman, ego gets the best of the man. Knowing these are two forces that are behind most, if not all, of our irreconcilabilities and our differences, don't let a crisis have to happen for us to overcome pride and ego. Like, you can overcome pride and ego with forgiveness. For every force in the universe, there's a opposite force that neutralizes it. Let me tell you something real quick. Within the atom, let's go subatomic. You know, I'm a science guy. Let's go subatomic. Within the atom, subatomic, there's a nucleus. Within the nucleus, now we're going within the nucleus. This is beyond the naked eye. You need a special magnifying glass to see this. So now we're in the nucleus. There's something called protons. Protons are positively charged particles. Positively charged particles. I'll say it again. They're positively charged particles. You'll have 5, 6 of them crammed into the nucleus. We all know that opposite forces attract, like forces repel. Therefore, it is scientifically, based off physics, impossible for protons to be within a confined area and live peacefully amongst each other. They're going to repel because, again, like repels, opposites attract. So protons are positively charged particles. They're energy forces. And because they're the same, they have the same value, which is a positive charge, they're going to repel each other. So yet still all of the protons are within a nucleus, within an atom. How is that possible? Okay, there's something called a neutron. A neutron, from where we get the word neutral or neutralize. And we know what the word neutralize mean, right? When you neutralize something, you bring it to a halt. If something is in motion and you neutralize the motion, I mean, you stop it, right? So the neutrons are what they do. The neutrons are within the nucleus as well with the protons, and their job is to neutralize the effects of the protons. I'll say it again. The neutrons neutralizes the effects of the proton and therefore keeps the protons tightly knitted within the nucleus. I say that to say, if you have kids, this is an analogy. It's not an analogy. It's a scientific data, scientific information, but I'm using it analogously. And it's analogous in the sense that you and your partner, me and my partner, represent the protons. We're going to have energies that are constantly bickering back and forth, and we repel each other, right? You know the sound of my voice, you know what I'm talking about. We repel each other. You've been married 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you know, we repel each other, right? You got to understand this. The neutron is what keeps the proton together. So let's get instructions from this. Let's learn from this. Let's take this scientific data and take it instructively and apply it to ourselves. What would be the neutron in between you and your wife, or between you and your child's father or your child's mother? What's the neutron? In this analogy, what's the neutron? What represents the neutron? Your children, your kids. And the neutron's job is to neutralize the effects of the proton amongst each other so that they don't repel. They don't push each other apart. They don't fight. So the neutron helps to mitigate or to lessen or to subdue the effects of the positively charged particles so that therefore they're not repelling each other. They're not pushing each other apart. The children would be the neutrons. Your children is the neutron in this analogy, in this anecdote, in this allegory, whichever one you want to use. Your child would be representative of the neutron. So if you have children, your children is to help mitigate, lessen, reduce the negative energy that's between you and your partner. In other words, again, your children is supposed to help bond you. There's three kinds of bonding, right? Staying with me on atoms. Atoms bond in three ways. You have covalent bonding, right? You have ionic bonding, and you have attractive bonding. The attractive type of bonding is the weakest bonding. When two atoms bond because they attract to each other, because they both have opposite charges and opposites attract, it is the weakest type of bonding. The instruction from that in this analogy is if you're only attracted to your partner, that's the weakest way to be bonded to your partner. Because somebody else is going to be more attractive than your partner. Do you dig what I'm saying? Another man is going to be more attractive than the man you're with now. Another woman is going to be more attractive than the woman you're with now. So attraction alone, if that's what's bonding you, that's a weak bond. That shit is easily broken. And that is the weakest bond in terms of atoms, if they're just bonded by attractive forces. Then you have what's called the ionic bonding. The ionic bonding is where an atom gives up an electron to another atom and therefore could bond with that atom. But it has to give up its own electron in order to bond with the other atom. That is the strongest form of bonding, but we wouldn't want to use that for instructors in terms for how we ought to interact. Because I'm trying to say how we can mimic the way our nature, science, atoms, how molecules bond. If we can get instructions from that so we can bond, that wouldn't be the best way. Here's the best way. The second strongest bond there is in the universe is called covalent bonding. Now listen to this. Covalent bonding is where two atoms say, okay, but let me backstep a little bit. Every atom, there's something called valence electrons, valence shells. Every atom needs a certain amount of electrons in its valence shells, in order for it to bond. Remember, the ultimate purpose of an atom is to bond with other atoms to form molecules and therefore form objects. Hence, us, the world, right? If an atom does not have enough electrons, it will never be able to bond and will be considered a free radical. Free radicals are no good. We'll talk about that another time. So the purpose of the atom is to hurry up and bond. Just like you and I. Our purpose is to become adults, find a partner, a mate, a spouse, and bond. Create a family, a unit, etc., etc., etc. Now, covalent bonding is interesting because, like I said, every atom needs to have a certain amount of electrons. So two atoms will come together, and what they will say is, look, how many electrons do you need? He'll say, all right, I need 5, and I have 4. And he said, how much do you need? He said, I only need 5, but I have 7. He said, all right, so here's what we'll do. I only need 5 and I have 7. You need 5 and you have 4. I'll share with you. So there's an exchange going on. He said, I'll give you one of my electrons that'll make your configuration equilibrium. It's called equilibrium, meaning balanced. So I'll give up an electron to you. I'll share one with you. You'll reach equilibrium, and therefore you can bond with me, and we'll be able to bond and form molecules, and molecules form objects, etc., etc., etc. It's called covalent bonding. There's an exchange of electrons between two atoms, and therefore they can bond and become one and form the offspring, which is a molecule, and the molecule form objects or matter. Now, again, this is analogous. This is anecdotal, right? It's analogous of how I think if we can follow the instructions, how we ought to conduct, govern, and regulate our relationships, right? So in this exchange, in this bonding, covalent bonding, there's exchange. So what does the exchange represent? Okay, so for you and I, it would be we open a bank account together. right? We're bonding. We're talking about bonding here, not just attractive. I discussed attractive bonding, and this is covalent bonding. We open up a bank account together. That would be the analogy of exchanging electrons. We open up a bank account together. So now we have a joint account, right? There's marriage, right? People get married, right? There's children, right? I deposit a semen and you deposit an egg, and out of that comes a child, right? The ovum, the sperm, and voila, we have a child. Again, that child is a offspring or offshoot of our exchanging, right? We're exchanging, fluids, and here comes a child. We buy a home together, right? Your name, my name, right? Again, sharing of electrons, right? Covalent bonding. How an atom bonds, they share electrons, right? They say, hey, you give me some, I give you some, and we form a molecule, and out of molecules come chains of other molecules and objects and matter, right? So we see in covalent bonding is the most efficient form of bonding for you and I as human beings if we were to follow the instruction of the atoms and the molecules. If you're going to bond, if we're going to bond, and here's the thing, the reason why bonding is so important is because in the macroscopic, the scientific world, you have four forces. You have the strong force, the weak force, electromagnetic force, and gravitational force. Gravity is a force, electromagnetic force, strong force, and weak force, right? These are the four forces found in the universe. Four forces: strong force, weak force, electromagnetic, gravitational. All these forces are obviously necessary for the operations and functionality of the universe, right? These forces work on everything: the sun, the stars, moon, the cosmos, and the celestial, earthly, etc. So, but these forces are destructive and they're constructive. They're good, they're bad, it all depends. So that's why it's necessary and absolutely imperative for you to bond covalently, meaning in a way where it's solid, it's strong, and you're just not giving up something, right? Whereas in ionic, only one atom gives up, no good. If we're trying to find a way that we can do it that is mutually beneficial. And the reason why you need to bond like this is because these forces that I mentioned are constantly at work. So there's forces constantly trying to destroy, to shake, to break the bond that you're building with your spouse or your significant other, your partner, whatever it is, whatever title you want to call yourself. There's forces that's always at play trying to break that up. Okay, just like in the microscopic, in the subatomic world, there are forces there to break up. Like I said, protons, their forces will naturally break each other apart. So you need an offset or neutralizing force, which is the neutrons. And for you and I, there's going to be times where you fight with your spouse. You guys get into it all the time. It happens, right? A child will be the neutralizing force, right? You should let your children be a neutralizing force because, again, an object is not just built with one thing, right? Every object has various forces, but all those forces serves as a check and a balance to other forces to keep the object together. I'll say that again. All objects consist of various parts, and within various parts, there's various forces, and those forces serves as a check and a balance to keep the object stable and in good condition. So people say don't stay together for the kids. I get why people say that. You shouldn't stay together for the kids. You should stay together for the family, for the unit, for everyone. It's not just for the kids. It's for you, him, her. But what you must understand is that your children are to serve as a force to offset your negative energies, right? So, and that's why they're there. That's, it's like everyone serves a intricate part of the puzzle. Right? You understand? Everyone plays a role. Everyone has a crucial role to the maintenance of the puzzle. One wheel falls off a car, what's going to happen, right? If two wheels fall off, I mean, every wheel has to be, you understand what I'm saying? So that we can have a smooth, balanced ride. So, my thing is, people will say, oh, don't stay in a toxic relationship. It's toxicity, the toxicity of a relationship. And I get that too. But that toxicity didn't just arrive. You understand what I'm saying? So what a lot of people like to do, a lot of people like to just run. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people like to throw in the towel and just be off to the next. Like, yo, I'm off. But here's the interesting thing. Your job is toxic. Why don't you just get up and leave? How many people hate their jobs? Let's talk. We're gonna talk grown folks talk right now. Y'all don't want to talk to me because I'm you know I'm sharp with mines. Like, why y'all don't leave y'all jobs? Why don't people just get up and leave their job? Your job, I'm sure your job is toxic. There's people who go to their work who hate their jobs. They just get up and go and they hate it. Why? Toxicity. It's toxic, but yet you still stay, right? Here's the real truth, folks. Your light bill will be turned off if you left your job. Your phone bill gonna get cut off. You can't be on social media, FaceTiming, texting, Facebooking, Instagramming. So you're like, all right, I'm gotta go to work because I gotta, you know. So you're being incentivized, right? Your car note's not gonna get paid. Your mortgage is not gonna. So you know, it's interesting in the animal world, and we belong to the animal world. There's certain animals that need to be goaded, and there's those animals that just you snap a finger and they know to move, right? And when I say goaded, you mean pushed, coerced, cajoled, or cajolery, pricked with a lance. There's some animals you gotta spank them for them to move, and that's how we are because we belong to the animal kingdom. Some, not all, some, most, a lot. We need to be goaded. We need to be incentivized. We need to be pushed, forced, kicked in order to make some action. My thing is this: we stay at our jobs because we know if we leave, if we leave and say we're just going to leave, there might not be another job readily available. So now you're out of luck. So you got to stay in and suck that up and deal with it and make the best of it, right? But a lot of people will just get up and walk away from a relationship because it's toxic. And I'm saying, well, wait a minute. You won't just get up and walk away from your job because it's toxic. Well, why would you just get up and walk away? Because it's easier, right? It's so easy to just leave someone and start over fresh, right? That's what you believe. But here's the reality. The toxicity was caused by you and that person. It wasn't just one person, both. So what that means, if you're just going to walk away from your toxicity, all you're going to do is bring it to the next person and the next person and the next person. And then you're going to keep realizing, running around, you're going to be bed hopping. Instead of eye hopping, you're going to be bed hopping. So my thing is, rather than just be so easy, and I'm not saying you should stay, you know, look, I got 3 rules. These are my 3 rules in this order of why you should leave. Why this is when you got to leave. These are 3 rules. These are the 3 things that shouldn't be tolerated. And in this exact order. 1, physical abuse. You got black eyes, busted lips, busted nose, arms are bruised. You telling your girls, oh, I fell down the steps. You got to be lying. You know what I'm saying? Nigga beating your ass. Time to go. Not tolerable. 0 tolerance, right? So physical abuse. What's the second one I got? Physical abuse, cheating, right? If this infidelity, I mean, not just infidelity, just a cheat, just a person who you can't trust. You can't trust, because here's the thing: don't bring me home no STDs. You dig what I'm saying? Like, that's the last. Like, you don't want somebody bring you home a disease. You know what I mean? That shit is real, it's scary, and that just no. Don't put my life at risk like that. You know, it goes both ways, male or female, right? So it's not mutually exclusive, right? And last but not least, this one is sticky, and it's kind of, you got to be real careful with this one. This one is real, how can I say? It's real subtle, nuanced, right? It's just a very thin line. Mental, emotional abuse, mental and emotional abuse. And when I say that, I don't mean just healthy arguments, right? Because arguments are healthy. Sometimes you need arguments. That's how you learn about your partner. You learn about your spouse. You need to argue, right? You need to know what buttons tick this person off, what buttons doesn't. You need to know their meter, their thermometer, so to speak, their threshold, you know. So in arguments, you learn these things. So arguments, healthy arguments are good. Emotional and mental abuse is very different than an argument. That's where someone is constantly putting you down. You guys are not arguing about things. They're trying to emasculate you if you're the man, or they're trying to break your confidence if you're the female, or destroy your self-esteem. You know, you don't have this, you don't come from that. It's more personable, as opposed to we're arguing about a light bill, or who's going to take the kids to school, or why I got to cook all the time and you never cook. And, you know, like, you're arguing about something objective, whereas this is subjective. This is like, now you're attacking me personally. That's trying to berate and put people down. That, to me, mental and emotional abuse could be more dangerous than physical abuse, right? So those are the 3 things in that order that I think is reasons for, okay, pack my bags and head out. But everything else, I think with a few exceptions, I think you work through. You work through, you fight your way through, you work through. So that's just, again, what do I know, right? This is just my advice, my opinion. So, and everybody has an opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. But the thing is, like I said, people, you don't just get up and walk away from your job because it's toxic, right? You work it out. You do the best you can and you make it, you know, because why? You have an incentive. You have bills to pay. Well, with relationships, you know, I think people throw the towel in way too quick. Right. I think people throw the towel in way too quick. I think people are quick to run away, quick off to the next train, catch the next bus. But the sad thing is that you'll just be going through the same thing on the next bus or the next train, because the issue is not resolved, because the issue sometimes, not all cases, but in a lot of cases, the issue is yourself. Right? Because you play a part in that toxicity, right? So a lot of times the issue is going to be still there because the issue's within you that has not yet been resolved. So you know, like I said, it's in olden days, folks stuck things out a little bit more longer. You know what I mean? Because they knew that's all they had was each other and they had to stick it out. You know, nowadays all these dating websites. Right. So you're sitting in your house and you're getting like a million commercials about dating websites. You're looking over at your partner like, this nigga here, you know, this chick here, you know, I can go on one of these websites. So, you know, we're being conditioned and programmed, so to speak, classically. And it's so, you know, but my thing is, like I said, if you're under the sound of my voice, you know, you got your wives, you got your kid, love your family, fight for your families, fight for your relationships. Don't just throw in towels. Don't just give up, because here's the reality, folks. It doesn't matter who you're with. There's going to be some shit to deal with. Like, you know, it's going to, and sometimes it's worse. You know, they say stick to the devil you know. I don't know if you ever heard that statement, stick to the devil you know, because sometimes you jump out of the hot water thinking, okay, this water's too hot, I'm out, and you land in the fire. You land literally in the fire, and you're like, whoa, I want to go back into the hot water, because this is the literal fire. So my thing is like, yo, just, you know, I got some friends who are going through stuff, people who are going through stuff. I know people who are going through a lot right now with their relationships, but I'm telling you guys right now, ego and pride are the two driving forces behind a lot of our failures in terms of our relationship. And the antidote, the neutralizing, the neutron to that is forgiveness. Like, we got to learn to forgive each other, folks. We got to learn to forgive each other. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn to forgive each other. If you're with your partner, you guys been together several years, I know things get stale, they get old, right? The novelty wears off. Like, it's kind of like when I bought, you know, over the years, I've been through a lot of cars, right? And I used to get a car, and like the first couple of months, I was excited. Like, yo, you know, I remember when I got my Hummer, my H2 big truck. I was like, I was like a kid in a candy store. You know, I had the big one with I put some big tires on it. I jacked it up huge. I'm running around like a monster truck. You know, I felt like I was driving a monster truck. And years go by, you're like, I'm getting rid of it. You know, it's not. When I got my CLS, it was the same thing. I was like, whoa, this is. You know, I had the coupe, loving it. Yeah, boring after a while. Range Rover, same thing. I was excited. I loved the range. I was like, oh, this is smooth. A couple of weeks, BMW X6, loving it. After, and that's how we are with each other. You see what I'm saying? It's part of our nature. Like, the novelty of things wear, and it becomes old and stale, and we want something new. But unlike your cars are inanimate objects, right? The human being, people are people. It's different. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? You got to value the person you have, because here's the reality. If you get sick and you're in the hospital, the car's not going to come visit you, right? So we could get rid of the car and don't feel anything because there's no animation in the car. Your car, you know, the person who you with, when you're sick and in the hospital, you hope that they're going to be there. Right? You pray that you would love that person, like that you'd hang on to them like it's your last breath, right? Or it's your last meal. So what I'm saying is, like, in today's society, you know, there's a lot that's pulling us apart, a lot of forces that pulls us apart. You know, there's a shiny new toy. Like I said, there's a new car. You know, look at that new guy. You know, look at that new girl. Look at those new girls. Look at those new guys, plural, right? There's shiny new toys. Oh, that one looks better than the one I got. This is old. Oh, this was nice when I first got it. Now I put miles on it. You know, fellas like, yo, I put some miles on her. When I first got off the lot, she was fly. The minute I took off the lot, value started to depreciate. yo, the odometer, you know, through the roof. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's starting to clack now. Don't drive the way it used to. You know what I'm saying? It's wobbling now. It's wobbling. The ride ain't smooth no more. The AC don't work. Damn radio broke. The heat comes and goes. You know what I mean? It's like, yo. So what I'm saying, I hate to trivialize it like this and pettifog. That's a word I just recently learned, not like maybe a week ago. I like it, and I'm going to use it every day. I hate to pettifog the issue, but you know, we need to be more forgiving. Like and I'm speaking to myself, folks. I'm not here pontificating from the pulpit. I'm not bloviating and pontificating from the pulpit. All right, I like those words, pontificating and bloviating from the pulpit. They're beautiful words. But so I'm not here to pontificate, right? But it applies to me first. Anything I say on here applies to me first, then to whoever else is willing to listen. So my thing is like, yo, we need to learn to forgive each other, man. And it might sound a little soft, but that's all right. You need some softness out. It's too rough. It's rough out there. Sometimes with your family, to each other, y'all need some softness. You know what I mean? Be soft with each other, man. Because when you go outside, you're going to have to be tough. You dig? When you go outside, you're going to have to be very tough, very rough. So be soft with each other when you come home. Love your wife, love your husband, love your children. Keep your family together. You know, let's try to bring back the old time religion. Raise your children. You know what I mean? Don't let social media raise your kids, because that's what's happening today. Social media is raising our children. You know, Instagram is BS, right? Insta. You know what they're doing? They're subconsciously, subliminally programming. It's instant. Everything has to be instant, fast. You know, you want this instant man, this instant woman. It doesn't work like that. So forget Instagram, because it's instantly BS. So, you know, just like I said, fellas, my boys out there, y'all know who y'all are. Love y'all wives, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, value what y'all got. Don't wait for some crisis to happen and then be like, oh, you know, don't do that. Like, make good while you can. Get over pride. For us men, it's ego. Put your egos aside, man. Get your egos out the way, and love your families, man. Embrace them. Hold on tight to them. It's cold out there. Till next time. Y'all know what I'm going to be doing. Cooking books, bringing info. Peace.